The only pitch we need.
All right, you guys are all good to go.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's start with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Lord, just help the webinar to be educational and help everyone to learn something from this. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the newest edition of the Mother of Divine Grace School College webinar series. In this series, we are really excited to be able to highlight faithfully Catholic institutions with you each week throughout the year, and to help facilitate conversations between our families and the admissions teams from these excellent schools. Today, we are thrilled to be joined by some representatives of Wyoming Catholic College to give us an overview of their program, and we also have a few Mother of Divine Grace graduates to chat about their experience as students at Wyoming Catholic. Today, we are joined by my colleague, Chris Sebastian, who is the MODG Director of Advancement, and Catherine Mershin, who is an admissions counselor at Wyoming Catholic College. We are also joined by two current Wyoming Catholic College students who graduated from, like I said, Mother of Divine Grace, one of whom will be joining on a little later, and both of whom I think Chris actually knows and may have taught.
Yeah, Caleb, doesn't it just feel like last year that we were hanging out in the National Honor Society meeting? Oh, it was just last year. It's so nice. I'm so glad to see you you thriving out there. I know we sent a lot of students to WCC, and Braden later on, who I call him Brad. I hope he still goes by that nickname. I highly doubt it, but he was in my literary analysis section a few years ago. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm so glad you guys were able to join us today.
All right then, for our participants, if you have any questions, there's a Q&A pod at the bottom of the screen, and please feel free to enter any questions you have in there. We'll answer as many as possible. Without further ado, I'd like to hand the virtual mic over to Catherine, and thanks everyone for being here today.
Thank you so much, Veronica, for that introduction. Yeah, like Veronica said, I'm Catherine Mershin, admissions counselor for Wyoming Catholic College, and I graduated last year in 2019. I'm originally from Greenville, South Carolina, and I was homeschooled all the way through K through 12 before I came to WCC. So today I'm really excited to share some things with you about the college. I'm going to start with our 3-minute video of the college that gives you a little sneak peek of everything. And then I'm going to give my 10-minute or so spiel about the college. I'll give you a couple other nuggets, video clips, and then talk about some particulars with the admissions process and scholarship opportunities and things like that that you should be aware of. And then I'll have Caleb and Braden also talk a little bit about their experience with Maj and then with coming to WCC. And please, throughout this entire presentation, please, like Veronica said, enter questions into the chat box. And yeah, I'll be happy, Braden and Caleb, and I'll be happy to help answer as many of those as we can. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you the video from Wyoming Catholic College. It'll take 1 second to get it up. Looks like I'm having trouble screen sharing. Give me 1 second.
I'm excited to see this. I saw a lot of the pictures. I think
oh, good.
Sent me some pictures.
Good.
It's just beautiful. So,
Veronica, it looks like I need permission.
Okay, let's see. Chris.
You should have it now. Sorry.
No worries. Perfect. Oh, great. There we go. So that will work in just 1 second.
Hey, Catherine, I'm
Yeah.
I think we're having a little bit of trouble hearing.
Oh, okay. Let me try one more time.
I'm not sure if there might be some setting.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, hold
Probably
on,
so.
sorry. I remember that there was a setting that I think you have to say that you will share audio.
Yep. Just got it. All
Perfect.
right. Tell me if this works.
So
Perfect. Yep, heard that.
Oh, great. Try this again.
Everything that we do has some relation to our Catholic identity.
great ideas, great literature, great theological arguments have to be employed in one's active life.
A central inspiration for Wyoming Catholic College is the idea that you learn from experience, you learn from poetic encounter with the real and with the beautiful.
Catholic education is much more than just knowing a lot of things about God or the church or theology.
Catholicism is shot through with physical encounters with the real and the beautiful.
We need to know those things, but then we also have to live them.
And that requires not just knowledge, but the creative imagination.
The curriculum is so rich. There are so many different things that people can be interested in our curriculum.
We have a theological aspect, which has its roots in the Middle Ages. We have a rhetorical and a humanistic aspect, which has its roots in the Renaissance. And then we have something that no one else has. We have a kind of experiential leadership program.
The first thing we do when we get here is go on a 3-week backpacking trip in the mountains that most people have never done anything like that. Then we take to the books and talk about places that great authors are describing or events that they've experienced.
When we started reading the Greek myths for freshman year, it was a whole new world that I was being ushered into.
There's a better understanding of, wow, I actually understand what it means to be cold.
So the books sort of stay in the classroom, but they have to become something that you take with you all throughout your life, all throughout the rest of your day, in the outdoors especially.
The motto of Wyoming Catholic College is let them be born in wonder.
The students who come here want to dive fully into the spiritual life and become holy. They want to dive fully into the academics and learn as much as they can. And they want to dive into the outdoors. They want to become great leaders.
We're compelling students to make a response once we give them this tradition.
This college gives the students all the tools they need. And I think it's up to the students to take advantage of it.
We want them to come out and see the stars, read the books, see the sunsets, watch the elk run, ride the horses, and have their breath taken away. And from that wonder that they're born into, we think wisdom will arise.
So that's a couple minutes of everything all together, Wyoming Catholic College. Deciding what kind of higher education you're going to get is one of the most important decisions of your life. That might sound kind of daunting if you're 16 or 17 years old, or at least it was for me. How in the world am I supposed to make this decision? I have so little experience, so little knowledge. How do I know what I want to do? Or maybe you're not like me and you think you know exactly what you want to do with your future, and you have got a whole plan. In either case, you should open up your ears, because it's really true. Your college decision will in many ways determine the rest of your life. You will never be formed again like you will be formed for like the next 4 years, from the ages of 18 to 22 or thereabouts. Education is a thing you must take really seriously, and it's more than about getting a job or being useful or for your career field. It's got to be more than about how cheap it's going to be, or rather probably more how expensive. It must be about what kind of education is going to form you. You have to ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? How do I want to live my life? Like it or not, realize it or not, these are the kinds of questions that you're going to answer by choosing a college. At Wyoming Catholic College, this is how we think about education. We think about it as person forming, as determining how you want to and how you ought to live for the rest of your life. In a nutshell, this education is really all about love. How do I know what things I ought to love? But even harder than that and further than that, how do I love them? How do I love the things that are going to make me happy? We've all had some sort of experience doing something that we didn't really want to do because we knew ultimately it would make us happier. Maybe you went on a run when you felt really lazy and then you felt great afterwards, and you knew that going into it. Or you wrote your paper on Shakespeare that you had kept putting off, and you ended up discovering some incredible truth. Or maybe you know that if you chose to read a book instead of wasting time on social media, you'd be happier ultimately for it. The reason you should go, or you should care about getting a liberal arts Catholic education, is because this kind of education is going to teach you to love the things that you need to love in order to be happy. And the reason that you should get a liberalized Catholic education at Wyoming Catholic College is because our education addresses the whole person as such in order to answer those questions. The way to learn to be happy is by learning to love what is good. We do this at Wyoming Catholic by learning how to love the great books. You need to learn to love Euclid's geometry in order to love the perfect world of the abstract mind, which will make you happy. You need to learn how to love the humanities because they teach you what makes other people happy. You need to learn Catholic social teaching in order to act properly in the world, which makes you happy. You need to study Aristotle's ethics in order to understand how you act according to natural law, which makes you happy. You need to go on a 21-day backpacking trip in the mountains to learn real-life leadership and to be immersed in wonder and become childlike, which will make you happy. You need to climb up a frozen waterfall with spikes on your feet and picks in your hands in order to understand what the psalmist says in scripture when he's talking about the Lord sending ice-like morsels. Who can abide his frost? You need to do all of these things because they will teach you ultimately how to be truly human, and to be really truly human makes you happy. Every man desires something infinite, something that is far beyond his own natural scope. And this kind of education has many difficulties, many trials. It requires so much work, but ultimately it teaches you how to be, how to live for the rest of your life. And That's worth every second, every penny, every hardship, every seemingly useless thing that you spend hours studying. So you name it, we got it. We study the foundations of every other science and discipline. That is what this liberal arts general education is. We get the basics, the tools, the processes by which any and all other learning takes place for the rest of your life. This education is also all about hope. It gives students hope by showing them so much good that is in the world, and it gives hope to our culture that is in need of sudden, serious renewal in both its leadership and its citizens. So, to get a little bit more particular, we discuss the greatest minds in recorded history by reading the original sources and wrestling with them in seminar with our classmates. So to get to know someone, you have to talk to them. You have to be face-to-face and have a conversation. But most importantly, you have to listen. You have to listen to them. You need to do much more than hear about what other people say about someone or something. That's the reason that we read the great books. And that's the reason we use the Socratic method in the classroom. We first listen attentively to these great thinkers, and then we discuss them with our classmates who have also already done that listening as well. So this attentive listening to the books and in the classroom is carried over from the first immersion in God's first book, which is the wilderness. Through our outdoor leadership program, students learn how to be attentive to nature, to cultivate interior silence, to marvel at the terrible nature of a lightning storm, and also to marvel at the perfect tiny little details of an alpine forget-me-not. Students make decisions that have real immediate consequences, and they overcome many fears and challenges this way. They learn also through the wilderness the vital importance of the cardinal virtues in leadership, prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude. And all of our students graduate with a minimum of 10 weeks in the backcountry, and most of them actually graduate with many more than that. To bolster this atmosphere of attention that has begun in the wilderness and made strong through the books, our students don't have cell phones while they're on campus. So for some people, that's kind of difficult at first, but you cannot help but grow an appreciation for that freedom from distraction, the freedom from the virtual world that is so present everywhere else in our culture. What I always say to students is that you will not get the luxury of getting to be without your phone for 4 years, pretty much ever again in your life, unless you're, join a religious order. So I've given you some of the basics. Great books, outdoors, technology policy. We also have a very vibrant Catholic culture throughout all of this that pervades through all of our integrated curriculum. We have both a Roman and a Byzantine chaplain, so we have a full liturgical schedule, both in the Roman Rite and of the Byzantine Rite. And we have daily Mass and adoration and confessions and processions and all sorts of other liturgical things like that. During my junior year at Wyoming Catholic, I was thinking about how the biggest problem students faced at WCC is that there are too many good things to do, too many good things to love and to pursue and to learn. I had underclassmen asking me all the time, how are we supposed to do it? How is it possible to do your homework, prepare well for class, have a social life, become an outdoor leader, go rock climbing, go to daily Mass, go to also Byzantine liturgy sometimes, have a consistent prayer life, sing in choir, write beautiful papers, memorize poetry, and in the midst of this, leave room for spontaneity and also get enough sleep every night? this is not a new question. I remember asking it when I was an underclassman, and I can't say that I solved it, but my junior year, I had a realization that really helped. And that was that though I can't solve the problem for everybody, and it really is hard, it is such a good problem to have. What a great problem that there are too many goods for me to do them all, to pursue everything. If only everyone in the world had the problem I have as a WCC student, that I have to sacrifice some goods for the sake of others. So let me repeat this to you. You have a great problem before you. There are so many good options and so many opportunities and exciting possibilities that you could go do after your high school education. Maybe you want a solid theological education. Maybe you want to study astrophysics. Maybe you want to become an animal vet, or start your own business, or become a high school teacher, or get your doctorate in philosophy, or maybe you don't have any idea what you want to do in the practical realm, but you love to learn and study the great books and pursue beautiful things. You should not come to WCC because it's just the right answer. You are most likely choosing between good things, and therefore it's likely that there are not any bad options. But you should come to WCC because it will teach you how to make decisions, just like the one that you have to make right now. What I realized when I came to WCC eventually is that I got to study everything by coming here. I didn't have to give up. I had to give up some specifics, but I got to study everything. So each and every one of you should come to WCC if you love beautiful things and want to experience again and again that reverent wonder at the perfection that is all around us, and how to cultivate that wonder toward all the good that is around you. So that's my spiel about Wyoming Catholic College. I have a couple, I want to give you two more video clips to show you some more particulars, because I know that was a very 50,000 foot view of Wyoming Catholic College. So I'll show you a couple other videos, and then I'll talk about some of the particulars about the admissions process and things like that. So this first video is from one of our, or some of our 21-day backpacking trip instructors right before the 21-day trip this past August.
We call the freshman 21-day trip our freshman orientation, but it's more so a framing of the next 4 years in a radical way.
The 21-day trip, that experience influenced me as a student because it influenced my attitude towards adversity and towards discomfort. I started to see adversity as an area to be tackled. You know, the discomforts were not things to be avoided, but to be addressed.
It gave me a plethora of analogies through which to view my experience here at the college.
I think there's a really raw experience of community when you're in the backcountry.
It forges bonds like nowhere else.
It's taught me what God can do through his creation and what God can do particularly through his creation of people.
I bonded with my other freshman friends, and we stayed close through all 4 years. Having come back to lead this trip as an instructor, I see that happening for every single freshman class, and they all have stories together, and they all have that bond. And then you share stories with upperclassmen, and that's what makes WCC so unique from the start.
I was really struck with the true meaning of, we talk about like God is awful or awesome, right? But like we don't really have that experience of awe until you're caught in a lightning storm.
The fear of the Lord, like it's this completely sublime experience of who God is. It's not the safe, I'm cozy with my cup of coffee, praying in the morning kind of experience of God, which is beautiful and good, but it's this intense, like earth-shattering understanding of God is almighty.
So that's a nugget from the outdoors. And I have one more from one of our mathematics professors talking about the curriculum.
When you talk to mathematicians, what they say is, the thing I love about mathematics is I never have to remember anything. Most people who haven't had a good experience with math think that math is this thing where you've got to have the right equation memorized, and then you got to realize when you're supposed to use it. That kind of memorization is really inappropriate for a free person. There's never a time in Euclid's Elements where something magical just falls out of the sky and you have to memorize it and don't ask any questions. Instead, when you find out, if you see the reason why, you keep up with the argument, you build up more and more knowing, and you habituate yourself to the way of knowing. You get to the point where you've got a prop that's maybe 5 or 6 pages long, and you're not memorizing anything. You just know, well, he's going to do this, this, and that, and then the mathematics just sort of pours out of your soul, right? And that's what we want to happen. Traditionally, mathematics or the mathematical sciences were a very large part of the liberal arts. It's a very strange idea to think that liberal arts now don't involve a lot of math. We have to ask what we mean by liberal arts. And I think the first thing we ought to say is that these are the things that if you study, they'll make you a better, freer person. To discover true things about creation, to play in that space is really fun. Even the triangle, there's more to say about a triangle than one person could ever know. If you look at, a painting or a statue, if you look at something from Michelangelo or something, you don't give an argument as to why it's beautiful. It's based on an experience. And so I think that has to happen. You have to do some math and see that, wow, this is beautiful. The connections, the clarity, how the simplicity of it. Like every discipline here, our goal is not to finish you. Our goal is to help you make the right beginning. Everyone loves mathematics. They just don't know it yet.
So without further ado, I'm going to talk about a couple particulars, scholarship opportunities and such, and then I'll hand it over to Caleb to talk a little bit about his transition from Mach to WCC. So a couple things. We have a Founders Scholarship competition that is for high school seniors, and we have 3 of these competitions per year. We just had our first one at the end of October. We have the next one's in March and then in April. And this is an opportunity for high school seniors to come to Lander for a couple days and compete for a full tuition scholarship to the college. So the competition part itself entails a written essay and a 5-minute presentation and a seminar discussion with the other competitors, as well as a small group discussion. Based on performance, 1 full tuition scholarship is awarded, as well as many other partial scholarships. And then on top of that, competitors get to sit in on current classes and stay with the students in the dorm, participate in student life events, and just get a real taste of what the college is like. To make this possible, we provide free shuttles to and from the Denver airport, and we also provide a $300 travel voucher. So basically, it's a free trip to Wyoming. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So look it up. So yeah, it's really a blast. We also have the Flannery O'Connor Scholarship, which is an essay competition, and the submissions for that are due in January. There are several different prizes for the first several, I think first through fourth place to win money for recurring scholarship for all 4 years at the college as well. And then for our rising juniors and seniors in high school, we have our Peak Summer Program, which Caleb also went to. And that is a 2-week summer program here in Lander. You go to classes with our professors, you go on outdoor adventures, you have a 4-day backpacking trip. You get a little taste of everything we do here squashed into 2 weeks. And it's really intense and a blast. And so there are 2 different programs for that this summer. The first one starts June 20th through July 3rd, and then the second one is July 5th through July 18th. So I encourage you all to check out those different opportunities. If none of those dates work for you for some reason, come visit anyway. I can talk, I can show you videos, but until you taste it, you're not really getting it. So we provide that $300 travel voucher for every accepted student to the college. So if you're applying, you're interested, but you want to visit, apply, get accepted, and then we'll pay for your flight to get out here and see if it's for you. Yeah, so I think those are most of my particular things I wanted to mention. Caleb, can I hand it over to you to talk about your Maj experience and your WCC experience?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So yes, I graduated from Maj this past May, so I'm a freshman here right now. So I did Maj the whole way. I was only enrolled for 4 years in high school. I was in the National Honor Society. I took literary analysis and some other courses I imagine you all are taking. So basically, as you all are well aware, Mother Divine Grace is a classical program, so it's based on stages of learning, and then we have lots of original text, and we kind of de-emphasize textbooks. So it was a natural step to go to a great books college, which is essentially like the summit of classical education. So we get to read. So it's awesome preparation because we're doing almost the same things, reading many of the same books. Let's see, just earlier this week we read Antigone here, in which you all read sophomore year. And then also classes in Maj tend to be kind of discussion. Classes here are actually a lot like Maj classes with the discussion thing, I think. So it's good preparation there as well. And then, yeah, so let me see. So I ended up coming here too because we do humanities, which is history and literature, like the history and literature courses at Maj, rolled into one. And then we have math, science, alternating, philosophy, theology, all of this stuff. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say except it's amazing reading all of the stuff pretty quickly, but slowly enough that we read it carefully. It's very intense, but extremely rewarding. And I guess I'll just add one thing. When I came here mostly for the academic component, the outdoor program was secondary, but it's way better in person than it looks on paper. Even if you go to Peak, which is an amazing thing to do, you'll go on a 4-day trip, but it's nothing like our actual outdoors program. Once you're a student, integrated extremely well into the curriculum, really enriches it in a way that few other things can. So yeah, it's incredible. So yes, that's mostly what I have to say.
Awesome. Thanks, Caleb. Braden just joined us also. Hi, Braden. You up for, can you talk a little bit about your experience also in that regard?
Yeah, absolutely. I apologize for being late. Just got out of humanities class. One of my favorite things kind of going from MODG to WCC has been the depth with which we go into the great books. I remember brief kind of going through the Aeneid, or not the Aeneid, just read that. But the Iliad, I don't remember which year it was, it's been a while. But just the depth that we go into the great books. And we start the year off, and Caleb can tell you all about that if he wants to hop back on, but with the 21-day expedition, which really kind of smacks you up right side the head if you haven't been in the outdoors before. You spend 21 days out in the wilderness, and you not only kind of gain an appreciation for nature and God's first book, but it kind of opens you up to receiving like this education that we have. And the 21-day expedition, it's hard. And so is the curriculum at this school, because of the amount of great books that we digest in the short amount of time that we do. The freshmen have already read the Iliad and the Odyssey, and then now they're going through short stories. And being able to go into these deep, in these great books with the amount of detail that they're able to is amazing. And there's not really anything like it. And I remember briefly in my high school days, I remember Chris also, hello. It's good to see you, or see your name again.
I'll wave hi. I'll wave hi right now.
Oh, there you are.
Brad. I still hope you go by the Brad nickname. It's a classic. No. And but Braden crushed it in literary analysis, and I see that he's doing the same thing here. So I'll sneak away into the shadows now.
Okay, it's good to see you again. Yeah, but just like, I don't know, my MODG experience it helped set me up for what WCC has to offer. I can't really remember a class where we went, I mean, other than the literary analysis, not to like praise anybody here specifically, but but like that was the closest thing we had to this in-depth experience of like the great books, but they were great stories. They were just little ones. Like one of my favorite ones was Young Goodman Brown. That was probably one of my highlights of senior year. Is I really enjoyed that little short story. But then coming here, I've gained a new appreciation for not only the Iliad and Odyssey, but my new favorite book, the Aeneid, which kind of mashes both of those great epics together and gives you a whole new different spin on some of what you've seen. So yeah, one of the other big differences from coming from MODG to WCC is you will learn very quickly that you are not a good writer. I mean, some of you might be great at it already, or you might think that, I don't know. I was pretty good at writing papers, so I thought, but when I got here, you can ask Caleb right now, he's going through Trivium. He's a bright kid, but Trivium and you guys have, or the freshmen have a lot of papers. So as intense as it is, it's super rewarding understanding like how, like learning how to write almost again. Yeah, the freshmen have like papers to do every week. It's so unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because you see them like, oh, I kind of want to hang out with you, but they're writing away. But just that ability to like see like, wow, I don't know how to write like a really elegant essay. And then you get to learn that in the very first week that you're here. You start learning about how to actually compose an essay. I'd never been taught that at MODG. That was totally unknown to me. And And it really opened my eyes to what was actually there and what I could achieve through this program. But I do have to say, I'll toot the outdoors horn one more time about that 21-day trip. It's an amazing experience. And if you've never, I mean, most of you have maybe gone out on a few days, if that many, on actually camping trip, and that might be in an RV or whatever, but you're in tents for 21 days with highly capable instructors going through the wilderness, and you're even getting some academics through that, either whether it's through poetry or just talking about wonder in God's first book that nobody gets to experience in today's day and age, which is nature. But that's just kind of my experience coming from MODG to WCC now, and I am very thankful for the opportunity that I've received.
Awesome. Thank you, Braden and Caleb, very much. Veronica, I think we're ready for Q&A unless you have something else first.
Yeah.
And Braden and Caleb, please feel free to jump in. We can all answer questions.
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys. Catherine, your presentation was beautiful. You were throwing me back because I went to Thomas Aquinas College, which is similar except for the outdoor program.
Yep.
And you're throwing me back on nostalgia.
Good.
But yeah, let's jump into the Q&A. We've got a good amount of questions, so that's exciting. The first one is, and you talked a little bit about this, Catherine, but what is the availability of the sacraments at WCC? And just as an add-on to this, like, are there chaplains that are available for regular discussions and things like that as well?
Yeah, definitely. So I mentioned we have two full-time chaplains, one Roman chaplain who says both forms of the Roman rite, so the ordinary form and the extraordinary form. And currently we have the extraordinary form, the Latin Mass 3 times a week, and the ordinary form 4 times a week. So that's every day. There are never classes scheduled during Mass time, so anybody could go to daily Mass every day based on their schedules. And confession is also offered daily, or maybe it's 6 times a week right now. But our chaplains are very open to, they have scheduled times, and then they're always also saying, if you can just go and ask them also if you need confession. And and then our chaplains eat meals with our students. They have offices, in our buildings. They're around at our big, all school events. They participate in our all school seminars and things like that. So they're very present to the students and to the faculty and staff as well, and really try to, encourage that the culture of the sacraments. And they lead, we have different liturgy of the hours and divine office that happen on a weekly basis, some things on a daily basis. We have, the rosary that students lead on a daily basis. So there are other sort of not sacraments, but sacramental things that are available all throughout the semesters as well. So I think, did that answer all the questions that you
had? Yeah, and it answered a few other ones that I hadn't seen yet. So no, that's great. Is there a choir? I think someone mentioned a choir at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one of my favorite things ever. Okay. So yes, there are 2 choirs in fact right now, a choir for the Byzantine liturgy and a choir for the Roman liturgies, and also 2 scholas, actually also a men's schola and a women's schola that sing Gregorian chant for different liturgies as well. So yeah, the choir, you audition to get in. We've had different, depends on sort of the schedule and what's available, but we've had great lessons, Advent lessons and carols, where we've sang Advent lessons and carols for our Lander community where we are, and then for different cities throughout Wyoming also, which is really cool because there aren't a lot of good choirs near us. So a lot of these people haven't gotten to hear beautiful sacred music before. So that's been a really cool thing Yeah.
That's awesome. And then are there music scholarships? That was another part of the question.
Yeah, so there's not like a music scholarship exactly. We have what's called the Benedict XVI scholarship. I'm glad someone asked that because I didn't mention it. But that scholarship is awarded to students who have basically special gifts and talents that they bring to the college community. So often that will be on a musical level. So whether that's voice through choir, and so they get some sort of letter of recommendation from their choir director, and then they're required to be in choir X amount of years or whatever, and they can get a scholarship for that. Or some students who play the violin or play the cello or play the piano, or even Irish step dance, and will teach the faculty's children or enter into ensembles, different things. So if you have something like that you really want to keep pursuing at the college, there are ways that we put you in touch with the right faculty, and then we can award scholarships based on that.
Okay, cool. Kind of to piggyback off of that, someone's asking, is there an orchestra?
Oh, I wish. No, there is no orchestra. Every year in the spring, we usually take a trip. Yeah, soon. No, every year we take a trip to Salt Lake City or Denver, and we go watch an orchestra or a ballet or a symphony or an opera, which is really cool. But we do not have that access right here, unfortunately.
That's all right. Like, yes. So then let's see. Do students have assignments during the 3 weeks of the backpacking trip?
Yeah, kind of. There's one presentation that students have to prepare for. Caleb or Brayden, do you want to talk about that? You've done it more recently than I have. Or, yeah.
I can talk. So there's one present, like Catherine just said, we have to prepare a student lesson beforehand on some topic. And you get 2 sheets of paper, and some point in the trip, you'll just be asked to give like 5 minutes presentation on it. I did edible plants in Wyoming, so it's pretty cool. We do a leader of the day thing. So 3 times during your trip, you will be put in charge of leading the group, which is kind of an assignment. You're using skills that you learned on the trip. And it's amazing because it's actually real leadership, which I had never actually had before, where you're guiding people. So I guess you could call that an assignment. And then of course, your instructors will give you lessons in knots and other way, but there's no required reading or anything like that. Though we did get a reading packet, which was good and enriching, but nothing really required.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought I was done, but actually, you don't have any assignments, but you are graded on the trip. So there are a bunch of different areas which they'll go over before you leave, and it's basically the entire trip. But so I guess you could say the whole thing is an assignment, but it doesn't really feel like that. It's not. There aren't really any assignments.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else. Do you offer different majors?
We do not. We have 1 degree in the liberal arts. There are no electives. You don't have to choose anything. You just do it all. Every single thing. Yeah.
I just like to add that's part of what makes this such an amazing college, because so like all the freshmen right now are all taking the exact same courses, and we're all writing papers at the same time on the same subjects. So it creates a much stronger shared bond because we all are doing the same things at the same time. And it allows you to have a class section where you take all your classes with the same group of people, so you learn kind of how to work with those people. So yeah, the fact that we have an integrated program and no majors is actually, I think, one of the best things about the college.
Makes sense. Yeah. So then kind of to go off of that, what makes WCC special among other Catholic liberal arts colleges? And I think you've addressed this a little bit, Catherine, but if someone wants to go more detail.
Yeah. Braden, go for it.
I will definitely hop on this. A lot of these liberal arts schools, I mean, they do have other schools have great programs, and I'm not going to diss them at all. However, they don't have something that WCC has, and that's the outdoor program. The way that WCC integrates the academic life with the outdoors is astounding. There's 3 things that the college attempts to kind of instill upon each one of us. It's like body, mind, and spirit. You get the body by going outside and experiencing nature, going on rock climbing trips, kayaking trips. You can go climbing, ice climbing. There's so much to do. And I think that's one of the best parts of WCC is because you've got this rigorous course that is very taxing on the mind. It's very taxing on the mind. So you need a way to relax and have a little bit of leisure and go out and do something physical and hard. And it's not even that we just for like our fall break, I was on a climbing trip co-led with one of my buddies. And we were climbing in the Uintas up in Utah, as well as Maple Canyon. It was like this beautiful experience, and it's not, the college just doesn't cut you loose and you go do all this random things without they don't kind of disregard you, but like you take a part of the academic with you, and you can either like recite poems on your trip. That can be kind of cheesy, but also have good discussions. And I don't know, just being able to talk about the Iliad or the Aeneid or the Odyssey or these great books out in the wilderness is amazing, because you have these epic similes that Caleb can tell you all about that they're learning in Trivium right now, that is relating like Achilles' anger to like some sort of like a thunderstorm or something, like, and you're able to almost experience that and like visualize it right there in front of you. And I think that's one of the really, those are one of the stark differences between WCC and other colleges. I've gone out riding for the past few weeks. I have never ridden a horse before this year. And I've, through the horsemanship program, I've been able to go riding, and now I'm pretty competent where I could walk up and I understand how to get on a horse, how to put a saddle on, how to ride it around. Those are just some of the stark differences that come to mind. I get really excited when we talk about the outdoor program, so I'll leave it at that before I kind of run away with the rest of our time here.
Yeah, did you have something to add to that?
Oh yeah, I agree with what Braden was saying. That's like, I mean, an easier question I think would be what isn't special about WCC in a way, but one of the other things is something that kind of unites the entire program, the outdoors, the prayers, our faith life, and our academic life is WCC emphasizes an experience of the real and the beautiful, not just an intellectual knowing of it, which is part of the reason that we go into the wilderness in the first place. And our curriculum emphasizes that too. So we have a lot of literature in our humanities, I think more than other great schools do. And then we also our Latin program is done conversationally, so we immerse ourselves in the language in our Latin classrooms, which, by the way, Latin program at Mod provides a good foundation for that. So what we do is definitely very intellectually rigorous, but it's paired with a kind of raw experience that I don't think you really get at a lot of other colleges.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's a great answer. Well, all of the answers, actually. Let's see. So someone actually is asking, what is the equine program like?
Again, I think Caleb or Braden, you've done it more recently than I have. All right, I can talk about it too. So currently we have one full semester of equestrian, the equestrian program, and it's once a week for the whole entire afternoon. And we go out to a ranch, and students start with just lots of groundwork. So before you get on a horse, before you start riding the horse, you just learn how to be around a horse. You form a relationship with the animal. It's a lot different. It's one thing. It's a special part of our outdoor program because it's the only thing where we're dealing with another animate thing that has a mind of its own, and so that takes a lot of docility and patience and attentiveness to learn how to interact with it, with the horse. So you start with a lot of those basics with the groundwork. A couple weeks in, you'll get assigned a horse, and you have it for the entire semester, and that will be the horse that you learn how to ride. You walk, you trot, you canter, and there's a goal by the end of the semester. You start in the arena, and then you go outside of the arena, and you go farther and farther until you there's a little baby mountain peak up behind the horse barn. That's the goal for the students to be able to ride up there by the end of the semester. So that's the basics of the question.
Wow.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that real quick, I'm in the middle of it right now, and our class is currently learning quadrilateral patterns, and this is where we're kind of like doing not tricks but formations with the horses, and there's about 8 of us right now are doing like different formations, and it's just been an amazing experience to be able to go from not really ever being on a horse, never being within 50 yards of one, to now I'm best friends with my horse, Sophie. She's kind of a fireball, doesn't like to listen sometimes. Like getting to bend, you're like almost bending their will, because it is a lower being, and you're trying to get it to listen to what you're asking it to do, or to kind of, I don't want to say become one with a horse. That'll sound too I don't know, Star Wars like or whatever people are watching these days, but it's been an amazing experience where you start out with pretty much no information about a horse, and then you become almost best friends with your horse to where you're able to do these different patterns with the group as a whole. So you not only grow in your relationship with your individual horse, but also with the horses around you, and you have to build up a trust with them before they will even let you ride them. And it's just an amazing experience getting to build that trust up.
That sounds incredible. I'm a little bit jealous. So someone is saying, what if I've been riding for 7 years now? Do we still need to go through all of that?
Yes, is the short answer. Yep, our curriculum is complete, integrated, full. You can't have one thing without the other. And so if you come into it with horsemanship experience already, that's great. You will be ahead of the game, and you will learn things in a new way, but also just implement the things that you already learned. And like Braden was saying, you do that with your classmates. You do that with the other people, which is a big part of it as well.
That's a good answer. Someone else is asking, have you ever had anyone who is allergic to horses, and how would you handle that?
Yeah, we have had some. We haven't had like terrible, crazy allergic to horses where they like can't even be near them, but we have had students who have had allergies when they get when they're with the horse for a long time, and there have been different. I can't say exactly. I don't remember exactly what has happened, but I know there have been those students, and we have worked with them to be able to still complete horsemanship in some way, to be able to come to the college and go through it. So that would not be a reason you couldn't come to the college, in other words.
Okay, good to know. Let's see. Is there a dress code?
Yes, there is a dress code. There are 3 different levels of dress. There's the basic modesty dress code that's in place all the time. There's classroom dress, and then there's formal. Formal is for our big all school events, lectures, some dances, Sunday mass, and then classroom is for class and for all of those middle activities, academic activities. And so the basics are, you have to, for women, you have to have skirts or dresses, knee length. You can also wear dark wash jeans with a blouse, and cowboy boots are allowed all the time because Mountain West. So all 3 levels of dress code, cowboy boots are in place. And yeah, Braden, what's the men's dress code? I don't really know.
Me neither. No, no, it's usually it's you can have dark jeans, obviously no tears or rips, a collared shirt, button up, tucked in with a belt. It's not too crazy. Also, no like tennis shoes you can't be wearing during class hours. You need to be wearing like dress shoes or cowboy boots, like you said. And then also men are not allowed to wear hats at any time during the day indoors. I believe that's about it. I mean, just dress properly like you want to learn.
Right. Yep.
I love the cowboy boots part. Okay. So are you having students visit currently with COVID and everything?
Yes, so we have been open for visits all semester. Yes. The semester is over in 2 weeks, so we might have a couple more, but we'll be open again for visits next semester between February and May. There are a couple precautions that we have to do because of COVID, but yes, come visit.
Students can stay. The college provides them some stay as well.
Yep.
That's great that you guys can do that.
Yep. Thank you, Wyoming.
Yeah. So we've got a few more questions. I don't want to hold you guys too long, but I think a good one is, how do students communicate with their families? Because you talked about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't have cell phones as students, but there are landline phones in each room, each dorm room. And there are also landline phones throughout our downtown campus buildings. So students are allowed to use those whenever they want. So those are really easy to call out on. Students also get direct numbers. Sometimes that takes a little while, but you can also call in to those direct numbers. Parents can. So we have those landline phones, and then the other primary way is just through email. We have laptops and access to computers, and so yeah, those are the 2 primary ways to communicate.
Yeah, I remember, like I said, my friend Marley just graduated from there this year, and I remember talking to her on the landline at some point.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
A little more complicated than a cell phone, but exciting in some ways.
Right. Yep.
Let's see. Have you had students go into engineering? How about biology graduate work?
Yeah. We were just talking with one of our graduates the other day, actually, who's in biomechanical engineering right now. He's growing, figuring out how to grow tissue, to repair tissue. So cool. Wow. So yes, we have students in those fields. We have students in law school and in med school. We all across the board. We have teachers, firefighters, cops, PhDs, all grad school. Yep, all the things. The answer to the question, what do I do with a liberal arts degree, is what don't you do? What can't you do? Yeah. You can do anything. So, yep.
All the things. Okay. What is the acceptance rate? More technical.
The acceptance, that's a good question. I could tell you the number of, let's see. I think it's about we must be at about 85% or something like that right now. Yeah, we're very small still. And so it's pretty funny because it's very self-selecting in a lot of ways, which is really great. So it makes our jobs easier on this end. Yeah.
Okay, so last question. Is the 21-day backpacking trip for all students or just the freshmen?
So it's just for the freshmen. So every student does it their freshman year. If there's some reason that, if a student comes as a freshman and they have a broken ankle, rolled ankle or something, they can do it before their sophomore year. But you do it one time. You don't do it each year. That would be cool, man. Whew. One day. Unless you come back and lead it as an instructor, which is epic. But otherwise, yeah, you do it freshman year. Every student does it their freshman year. Yeah.
Okay. Great. So unless anyone else has some last minute questions, I think we can wrap it up.
Awesome.
Chris, do you have anything to add?
No, this was fantastic, guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Catherine, could you share your email in the chat just in case people have any other questions that would want to reach out to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, please.
Yeah, this is amazing. You guys, thank you so much for being so generous with your time.
Yes, thank you very much. My email is right there. So yeah, please feel free to reach out with any questions.
Fantastic.
All right.
Awesome. Or I'll stop the recording. I'm going to go take my daughter to ballet.
Great.
It's the last one, otherwise I wouldn't be leaving.
Awesome. Thank you.